What's up, guys? It's the end of the year, 2024, and we had a lot of great movies. We had a lot of disappointments and bad movies, but this time we're talking about the best of the year, our best of the year.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
We each have our own best of the year, so we're going to kind of go back and forth, and we have some honorable mentions to get through too. But yeah, been an interesting year. I hope you guys have stuck it out with us throughout the year. If you haven't already subscribed, we'd love to see some more subscribers in here, some comments down below. Put your list down below for sure. What your favorites of the year were. You could have a totally different list than us. Tell us why we're wrong, all that good stuff. So I have too many honorable mentions, and I'm going to plow through them in a minute. But what are some of your honorable mentions before I say too many words?
So honorable mentions, I got Let's Start a Cult, funny, Stavros Halkias. Milk and Cereal, only like an hour long on YouTube. Curry Barker, it's a good one.
Free on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, Smile 2, I think it was better than the original. And these two would have been in my top 5 had they come out this year, but I was only able to see them this year because they weren't playing anywhere, but Monster and Perfect Days would probably definitely both be in my top 5. Cuckoo, that was honorable mention, and then Drive Away Dolls, which might...
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So my honorable mentions, I've got too many, so I'm going to just literally say the titles of some of these, and then I'll get a little bit into some more of them. But The People's Joker, La Chimera, Furiosa, Longlegs, A Different Man, Memoir of a Snail, Late Night with the Devil, Hitman, Juror Number 2, Smile 2, Love Lies Bleeding, and Kinds of Kindness. I liked all those movies. Just I actually, some of those I cannot believe are not in my top 10 or 20. At 20 is Thelma. Really recommend this. Surprised the hell out of me being like this elderly action story, but I really recommend that. That was really charming and fun. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Kill was an Indian movie from earlier this year that I reminded a lot of people of like a John Wick type movie, but I thought there was a lot there, and I was ripping my seat the whole time. Look Back is a really great little short anime film that I think is on Prime right now. I really like that a lot. Flow is another animated film from this year. No words through the whole thing. Just a great movie if you love animals. Civil War, loved that from earlier this year. Alec Garland. We Live in Time, one of the great movies of the year. Probably should be in my top 10, but there's so many other movies that came out this year, but great little telling of a relationship. Oddity, one of the best horror movies of the year, scared the hell out of me in the theater. Snack Shack, good like coming of age movie. Ghostlight, and Kneecap, which is like the true story of the rap group Kneecap from Ireland. But yeah, that was a whole lot of honorable mentions, but that means it's a good year for movies for sure.
I do want to throw a couple more in there that you didn't.
A couple more in there. I said too many, so go for it.
The Devil's Bath, I think, was a really good one.
Yeah.
Alien Romulus, The Substance, Heretic, all those are pretty good. But yeah, so I'll start with my number 10. I got Longlegs. It's my number 10.
This has grown on you, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's like the performances and the like little background stuff going on. It's really good. It's a real spooky movie. It's probably one of the better horror movies this year.
And I thought Nick Cage's performance in that is like iconic. Rewatching that, I can tell like we're gonna be talking about parts of this movie for a long time. Like that's some fresh new horror iconography that's great to see. So yeah, I agree. It probably should be higher on my list too. I reviewed it kind of middle of the road in the beginning, and then it's grown on me. My number 10 is Strange Darling. So we got Kyle Gallner. Actually, it's one that I from the get-go don't want to say much about. But if you like a twisty action thriller type movie with that you can't see what's coming next, highly recommend Strange Darling. So that's my number 10. What is your number 9?
Number 9 just came out. Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a video about that, so I don't need to say too much, and I'm sure everybody already knows what the movie is.
My number 9 is The Wild Robot.
Okay.
So I didn't know that any animated movie would be in my top 10 of the year, but The Wild Robot was just a great theatrical experience. I think this would be Even better if you have kids, probably. But I think this is good for kids or for parents or even for people that just are animal lovers. It just, reminded me of things like Wall-E or the Iron Giant without being like derivative of any of those. Just a good, fresh new take with really cool animation that kind of like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, or maybe a little bit like The Mitchells versus the Machines, Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, that kind of animation. So
Yeah.
really liked The Wild Robot a lot. What's your number 8?
It's The Wild Robot.
Hey,
Yeah, we're pretty
look at
close
that.
on that. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it about the same amount.
It was a lot more than I expected out of an animated film this year, for sure. My number 8 is Wicked, which is a huge surprise for me. But yeah, we did a video on it already. If you hadn't seen the video, not a huge musical guy, wasn't super familiar with the story of Wicked, hadn't seen the Broadway musical. Went into this with low expectations and had a smile on my face the whole time. Really enjoyed that. Everybody's seen that already, so. But yeah, I'm just really shocked that it's as high as it is on my list. But what is your number 7?
Kneecap.
Yeah, dude.
Some of this might be a little bit of recency bias because I think but I mean, I thought that movie was pretty great, and it's a good story. It's interesting about the culture, and it's awesome that those are the real guys.
Yeah, with no acting chops. I mean, like you would think they do, but they've never acted in anything before. So all they've done has been in this band. Yeah. I mean, I guess they're playing themselves, but they have good screen presence. They're not acting like it's their first time in front of a camera. So yeah, they nailed it. The more I think about it, it's actually moved its way up my list, and maybe as time goes on, it'll even move its way higher up my list because that really is one of the best movies of the year for sure. My number 7 is Dune Part 2. One of the best theatrical experiences for me. I saw it in IMAX or RPX or something. And I think it benefited a lot from big screen, great sound. And it's just like one of the cinematic experiences of the year. I thought it's just everything I wanted out of it. I loved Dune in the first place. I thought this even brought the heat even more and fulfilled everything you wanted out of the first one. And you got a lot more of the action and everything. So I know some people still think this is boring or whatever, but I loved it. I got everything I wanted out of it. And I thought it was going to be my number 1 of the year, but still very high at number 7. What's your number 6?
So 6 for me, I put Civil War.
Yeah.
Or Alex Garland. It was a pretty interesting take on a civil war.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a whole lot about why it's happening either, which I thought was a cool angle.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the president was doing something stupid, dissolving the FBI and all this sorts of shit. No, I thought the performances were good, and like the sound in the movie was good. Like the gunshots were very loud, jarring. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah,
it makes you feel like you're living in that situation. And also, I was surprised by people were like polarized about this, because for me, I liked that it was all from the angle of like a photojournalist, and you're just following it from their perspective, kind of like a weird analogy, but it's kind of like how Signs, instead of being like Independence Day, where it's like how the world reacts to that, it's like one insular family's reaction to if aliens show up. So same kind of thing here, just this small group of people and how it affected them. My number 6 is The Beast. So I think this is technically a 2023 release because it released at festivals that I didn't go to. So for me, this was a 2024 release. Watched it twice. I just absolutely loved this movie. It's very not for everybody, but it just tells a really interesting story where people are living, I won't tell you too much, but people are living these different versions of their lives in different universes to kind of strip their emotions away, and there's a romance involved. Just a really unique, interesting story. Really great movie, and held up on a rewatch. So what's your number 5?
Challengers, the good Luca Guadagnino movie that came out this year.
Me too.
Is it? Is it the same?
That's my number 5 too.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
I know some people didn't like it, my cousin, but I liked it quite a bit.
Something about, if nothing else, like the score thumping behind that really added a lot to it, and the performances added so much to it, because I think both of us were surprised to be so enamored with a tennis movie. Like, I don't think either of us are, I mean, I'm not even a huge sports fan in general, but like, I don't think either of us are spending our weekends watching tennis, and here we are enjoying. That was my number 1 for a hot minute. I'm surprised that anything has usurped it, but yeah, my number 5 is also Challenger. So let's just move on to your number 4. What you got for number 4?
Memoir of a Snail, one of your honorable mentions. I liked that one quite a bit. The animation was solid. Stop motion. The story was very capturing and kind of like heartfelt story, sad and then happy.
Very melancholy, yeah, very melancholy.
Yeah, I'd recommend that movie to anybody.
And if you like that one, it's a long time between movies, but 15 years ago he directed another film. I always mistitle it. I think it's called Mary and Max. Really good story, similar vein. So if you like Memoir of a Stale, maybe start with that, and see, if you like that, definitely go back and watch Mary and Max, especially if nothing else for the Philip Seymour Hoffman and Toni Collette voice performances there. But yeah, I like that movie quite a bit. My number 4 feels a little unfair because you left it off of your list because it's not technically a 2024 release. But my number 4 is Perfect Days, and this is one we watched together when we were at your house.
Right.
Yeah, just something about this really, really stuck with me, and I think the same is the case for you. It sounds so simple and so humble, and like there's not much to it at all, but it just, man, I mean, not to oversell a movie, but it almost makes you view the world through a different set of glasses afterwards.
Yeah.
Like it's a guy just waking up every day appreciative of what he's got and finding beauty in the littlest things. And yeah, I mean, to say much more than that is to talk too much about it. It's just one you got to see. If you haven't seen Perfect Days, it's kind of for everybody.
I mean, yeah, if I would have included it on my list, it probably would have been number 1.
It could have been my number 1. It could have easily been my number 1, and I've shuffled this list around a lot. But yeah, just one of the most memorable, like moving in such a subtle way. Somebody acting with their face in some of the best ways I've seen in all year. Just breathtaking stuff there. What's your number 3?
Number 3 is Look Back, which we also watched here.
Yeah, dude.
Solid little movie. Like, I think it's like an hour. It was just like an hour long, right?
It's not even an hour. It's like 56 minutes with credits. But yeah,
yes.
They accomplished a lot in that short amount of time.
Yeah, great story, great, cool, very solid animation. Watch it.
Yeah, a unique type of animation that I have. Like, it's anime, but it's got kind of a uniqueness about it that kind of set it apart, and it's just, yeah, really moving and awesome. My number 3 is Sing Sing. I don't know if you got to see this one or not yet,
No.
but Sing Sing was just, I think they're actually re-releasing this in theaters because not enough people saw it, and I want to echo that. If you get a chance to see this when it re-releases in January in theaters, go see that, because really just a fantastic performance from Coleman Domingo. There's something that was a surprise to me and really added impact to this movie, kind of about the rest of the cast and some just like behind the scenes stuff about the movie that you find out. And I recommend letting yourself find that out on your own. But it just really impactful movie and makes you kind of appreciate how there's like joy to be found in these little corners of the world, even where people are, we kind of throw people away to the people in society that do crimes that we decide need this much time in prison for and all this. So you just really see the humanity in those people, and I like a movie that kind of makes you readjust and reevaluate like where you're at with how much empathy do you really have for the prison population. It's a thing you don't think about very often, so unless it hits home for you. So yeah, Sing Sing was just awesome. Drop Dead, awesome. What is your number 2?
Number 2 for me could have been number 1 as well. We Live in Time. I thought that was a fantastic story. I like the way they told it. They kind of jump around through time periods, obviously, but Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield were fantastic.
Top notch, yeah. And the way they told it made it very interesting. Like, you didn't, it's almost like the title kind of tells you everything you need to know. We live in time in this order, but here it is. And
I think they did a really good job of, like, because sometimes you watch a movie that they do that and you're like, well, where are we? What time period? What's going on? Where are we in this time?
I was never confused.
Yeah, not once.
And they don't even do that much with like makeup, or like they don't really age anybody or whatever, but they just, the storytelling was so tightly written that you never find yourself really questioning any of that. Yeah, it is really, I mean, it could have been in my top 10 for sure. It's a fresh one for me, so I'm trying to, like, the recency bias makes me want to put that really high, but that was a really, really great movie and just showed a really great relationship. My number 2 is The Substance. This actually, I mean, it could have easily been it's kind of a tie for number 1. Honestly, I don't really feel strongly that my number 1 is a better movie than this. These are my 2 top. But The Substance was just fantastic. I rewatched it and it still held up. There's just something about this that's so special and so in your face. The body horror elements, the performances are great. The different lenses used throughout this to make you just really feel like you're, like I just said in your face, but like it feels like you're literally in the face of these performers, and everything is so visceral. And I think the grossest thing about the whole movie is Dennis Quaid eating shrimp, and that's quite an accomplishment in a movie that is absolutely disgusting a whole lot of the way through. I hate needles, and somehow I still like this movie anyway. I'm repulsed by this movie, and somehow that makes me love it even more. It's just something very special about this one. I think we'll be talking about it for a long time, especially body horror fans. This is like what everybody's been clamoring for. So much practical effects and just killer one-on-one solo performances from people. One of Demi Moore's best performances. Margaret Qualley's great. I could talk about it forever. I freaking love it. What is your number one?
Number one is Snack Shack.
Yeah, I felt that coming.
Yeah, it was the only movie I gave 5 stars of this for the year besides Perfect Days. Good coming of age, great coming of age movie, good cast, good acting.
Felt like real teenagers.
Yeah, it felt just like real life.
Mm-hmm. It very much feels like real life. It feels like the way real people talk. I love a script that doesn't feel like it's written. Like it feels like how people actually talk.
Yeah.
Which is why my number one is what it is. My number one is Anora. My jaw is just on the floor still after watching this movie. It just absolutely nailed every scene. I have zero complaints. It makes you feel, in the same way that Sing Sing does, it makes you feel like a lot of Sean Baker's movies. It makes you feel more empathy for like the sex workers of the world, and it shows you, it kind of shines a light on a strange corner of the world that you might not otherwise see, and shows you the humanity in that. It's funny in ways that are super. It's just like the most humanist movie ever. It's just funny in ways that you can relate to. I could just gush about it forever, and I already have a whole video where I gushed about it forever. Anora is my number one. Anora and The Substance are my number one. Okay. I'm cheating.
Yeah, I haven't seen Anora, but I need to watch it.
So that's our best of the year. Pretty good year, all things considered, and our first full year reviewing movies on this channel, because last year we were just, starting from basically May. But yeah, we got the thing that people seem to want to hear us do even more coming up very soon, which is our worst movies of the year. So we'll have that coming up very shortly in a huge shift of tone. But yeah, we appreciate you watching all year long. If you haven't subscribed already, we'd love to have you subscribe. Drop your list down below, and look forward to talking to you soon, and we'll see you in the worst of the year list very soon. See you guys.